Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I understand scale theory and how I use it to improvise on the mandolin. So stick around. So what am I talking about when I say scale theory? So let's take a major scale and divide it in half, and we'll have two separate parts. Let's have a look at the key of D. All right, here's a D major scale. There'll also be some visuals here. Let's pull up that major scale and look at it again. We'll notice the first thing that the fourth and fifth scale degree are going to be G and A. When you play a song that the key is centered in the key of D, the most common chord changes are going to be the fourth and fifth scale degree, which in this case are G and A, and they actually share some of the same notes as this D major scale because they are the fourth and fifth scale degree of D. So let's look at how some of these notes start to overlap and what we can do with it. So we're going to split this scale right down the middle. We're going to have the 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5, 6, 7, and 8. The 1 and the 8 are the same note. That's kind of how we want to start to think of it and how they will start to overlap with the fourth scale degree and the fifth scale degree. Now, those are going to have their own scales that are going to be unique to those two notes, so the G major scale and the A major scale, but they're going to share some of the same notes as this D major scale. So let's look at how they overlap. Before we can talk about what notes are shared between what scales, we really need to talk about two different concepts and maybe define some things really quickly. Transposing and playing changes. In music, transposing means changing the key of a piece of music either by raising or lowering the pitch of all the notes by a consistent interval. This can be done to accommodate different instruments, vocal ranges, or to create different tonal colors. Essentially, it's about shifting the entire musical piece to a different tonal center while maintaining the relationships between those specific notes and intervals. So the first level of playing improvisation is going to be to take your D major scale and transpose it to a G major scale and an A major scale. And here's a G major scale. And here's an A major scale. Now what we've done is we've transposed from a D major scale to a G major scale and an A major scale by just moving that same pattern up or down a string respectively. Now, I want to be perfectly clear, transposing is not playing chord changes. It's not. But if you have a phrase that you need to move from one key to another key, transposing will help you do that and will help you kind of stay coherent throughout chord changes that aren't naturally together, or maybe they are naturally together. Maybe the key center changes, whatever that may be. Transposing is something that you need to learn and you need to be able to internalize. An example I like to use for transposing being useful when you're improvising or just learning a tune is going to be Sweet Georgia Brown. That first two chord changes of D and G go something like this. So that's transposing. Let's talk about playing over the chord changes of a song. First, let's go back and look at that D major scale with a little bit more context, right? So each scale degree can also have harmony, or it can be expressed diatonically, or another way to say that is give each scale degree in the scale its own chord. And that was something like this. Now, this three-note basic diatonic expression of a major chord, while it is great information, is still not enough context for us to understand how to play through chord changes. So, if we go through a four-note harmony for this major scale, you'll see that each scale degree in the scale now has enough contextual information to give us the chord in which those notes from that original D scale come from. Meaning, when we split that first major scale in half and we had the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the 5, 6, 7, and 8, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 actually come from a G major 7th scale, and the 5, 6, 7, and 8 actually come from an A dominant scale. If we continue to think of a major scale this way, when we get to more complex music theory concepts like modes and modal interchange, this is going to be much easier to understand, but that's not necessarily something I want to tackle in this video. I want to take a couple of the concepts we talked about in the video and leave you with really concrete ideas to practice and things that bounce around in your head when you're thinking about improving and thinking about doing stuff, right? So when we have that diatonic, 4-note diatonic expression of a D major scale, the first thing I notice is that the first scale degree and the fourth scale degree are both major 7th chords, which means in my mind, transposing from a D major 7 to a G major 7 is pretty much a 1-to-1, which is what we want. If we have a phrase that's pretty hip, and we want to play it in G now, it's pretty much just moving it up or down wherever we need to move it to. But it can be the same pattern, right? So right? But if we move that to A, we need to catch that flat 7. So an A 7th or an A dominant, we need to catch that G, right? So we take the same phrasing, we catch that G, and all of a sudden now we have conveyed the correct contextual information to let you know that we are still in the key of D. We are moved from G into A and back to D again. So let me play a little riff and see if that makes sense for you. 1, 2, 3. Thank you for watching this video. There is a Patreon link in my bio, as well as links to my music. Please stream my music. Please subscribe to the Patreon. Please subscribe to this channel. Please like this video. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.